Okay, so the Aristocrats, how are you doing?
Good. Very well, thank you. Yes. Thank you for your concern.
Yes.
This is, I think, the first extended tour on Europe, or was it before with the first?
Second.
Second.
We did 5.5 weeks last year. This is the first time we've toured 10 weeks anywhere.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yes.
It's a long tour.
We were very aggressive.
Yes.
Fights are starting and everything.
Yes. Yes. Just ask the Polish people.
So you actually find the right time to do this tour because you have a lot of other obligations in other bands.
Well, we make this band a priority also. You know, we all believe in it, so it's something that we plan for in advance, and thankfully everything works out.
So it's not just considered as a project, is it more like a real band now?
It was from the get-go, wasn't it, sort of? You know, when
Yeah.
we did the first album, it wasn't, you know, really planned as being a project, you know.
Okay, how did you actually start the whole thing?
We could share this story.
Yes. let's pass the ball around.
Yeah.
Okay, this all goes back to a NAMM show, which is the big music trade show they hold in Anaheim, California every January. And I guess, was it 3 years ago now?
January 2011.
I got an email from this man saying, "Hello, my name is Brian. I do the following things. And I know this drummer, his name is Marco, he does the following things, and we need a guitar player just for one 30-minute show." And the previous guitar player, the very splendid and capable Greg Howe, had apparently been forced to cancel at short notice, so they just needed someone who could operate an instrument with 6 strings. And I think you heard about me through Facebook or some such. My favourite thing.
Yeah, I know, exactly. So it was actually a fan on Facebook who would write me every couple of weeks and say, "You've played with Mike Keneally and Steve Vai, now you have to play with Guthrie Govan because he's the next greatest guitarist in the world." And I was like, you know, kind of, sometimes these people can be a little aggressive and you don't really know, you know, what you're going to get. But I remembered that he had said this when we were looking for a guitarist, and then I watched a video and I was like, how is it possible that I didn't know Guthrie, never even really heard of him, you know? It was just seemed incredible. So that was when I wrote him.
Then what? Then we did the gig.
Yeah. then we did the gig, and we played our own solo material, 2 of Marco's songs, 2 of Guthrie's songs, and 2 of my songs, and the crowd reaction was really, really great. And we've done, you know, NAMM show gigs before, and you know, we can kind of tell the difference between, okay, they liked it, and whoa, what was that just happened there? And so people said, you have to be a band, you have to be a band. So we just listened to them.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a little bit tricky, considering that you are all coming from different bands, from different genres. How did you decide what kind of music style you want to perform?
We didn't.
I don't really think that we're coming from completely different territories, aren't we? Brian and I, you know, especially, we kind of, you know, played also in metal bands and all those kinds of stuff, and also we all love Frank Zappa's music, for example. You know, we have pretty much all the same connection. That's why we kind of work that well together. We can, you know, happily listen actually to the same iPod mixes actually in the car and be fine with it. So,
yeah, I would add maybe. I think this has become more apparent as we've played together more. It's not so much what we play that comes across, it's the way we play it and the way we interact with each other. And that seems to translate to some extent regardless of the genre, so we've never felt the need to be too conscious of that. If anything, we're trying a wider range of things as we get to know each other better.
Well, the whole music, I think it's pretty unique, so can you reveal some influences?
Well, I think we just did. You know, I know, you know,
Frank Zappa already?
Frank Zappa is a big shared influence for us. We all love Led Zeppelin, of course, and a lot of the same kind of classic rock and some progressive rock. I mean, you know, like he's big into Queen. I'm huge into Yes. Guthrie's into some stuff that I've never even heard of, but
I'm a weirdo, but I guess I come partially from fusion world. I've always played fusion with an offensive, too loud rock guitar tone, so I've always been stuck between different genres anyway. And it's quite nice there.
Yeah. Sometimes really experimental kind of things too for a trio, like, you know, for example, I like Kraftwerk or like some electronic stuff, or really experimental things, you know. And so, you know, I guess, you know, when we write songs, it's I think one of the original things about us is we write songs separately and then bring them to the table and then, you know, have them interpret, basically as a band. And so the daring thing, like for example, the Dance of the Aristocrats, which is literally written, I wrote it actually on sequencer material to kind of bring it to this band and see what we can do with it. So basically, I personally never consciously think about, oh, that could be an influence. It could sound like this or like that. It's literally like, let's see how we can make it sound like.
Yeah, it's more about songs anyway. I mean, like, there's a song on the new record called "We Will Stomp," which is kind of like a rockabilly thing. I never listened to rockabilly ever. I don't have any Brian Setzer records. I don't.
Yeah.
It just kind of showed up as a song, like, oh, this would be fun for the Aristocrats to do.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it comes from. It's like, what song could be cool to hear? I think we all end up doing this. It's like I'll write something I'm like, oh, I can't wait to hear Marco and Guthrie play this song.
That's an important part, isn't it? To see like, wow, these guys could kill on that. I think that was one thing that changed from the first towards the second record. The first record was like, okay, so it worked live. There's a good response. Let's see how we interact in the studio. And then later on, when the chemistry, got so evolved, that on the second album it was like so locked that we already knew how we sounded and what we could do.
So is this band more a priority, considering that you are already in a lot of serious bands, like you're in Deathlock, you two are in Steven Wilson's band, so...
Well, those are serious bands. This is a terrible band.
Yeah, define serious.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but I think Guthrie can speak for us on this one.
Yeah, I'd say anything is a serious band if you choose to take it seriously and invest a lot of your energy and passion into it. And I think we believe in this as much as we believe in anything else we do. There's no singing, and that puts it in a certain bracket in terms of how many people we can expect to care about what we do. But it's, I think, a priority for all of us because we all care about it. And it's a vehicle where we can all bring our own compositions to the table and feel a certain kind of freedom to play songs differently every night. And hopefully audiences have come to expect that, and they've come to expect a little unpredictability and a little fun and looseness. So I guess you get different rewards from the different musical worlds you inhabit, and that's the fun about this band. So it's not competing with anything else, certainly not.
Where do you see this thing going in the future? Let's say probably you have ideas for 3 albums already.
This band is going to Miami. Yeah,
surprise you.
Yeah, by the end of this tour, this band's going to be in Miami.
Slapping sounds of leather and rubber.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, by the way.
No.
Yeah, we encourage all sorts of fulfillment. We just want to keep doing what we're doing. I mean, like, I think the band has a momentum, thankfully, because people have taken an interest in what we've done. We've managed to get 3 records out in less than 3 years, which is really, I think, an accomplishment considering we don't live in the same places and we're always constantly traveling around when we're not together. And we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. I mean, there's no master plan and an outline, no matter what anybody thinks. There really isn't. We want to keep making music and we want to keep playing it for people, and hopefully they'll keep enjoying it and the rest will take care of itself.
Should good.
Well, I actually would just maybe ask a question about Joe Satriani. How was the tour? You have already confirmed on new concerts here around in Italy in July and Europe. What was the experience? you played in Slovenia in May last year.
Yeah, we did Ljubljana, right? With Joe, we did Ljubljana.
Yes, we did Ljubljana.
Yeah.
It's great. I can only say very, very nice things about Joe. Very great guy, just a very good hang. They treat us nicely. Everybody, can spread out musically actually as well. He loves what we do. This is kind of a talent to have, or a good thing to have for somebody. When you're in a band and you have a band leader, that he kind of picks you for what you do and not for what he wants you to hear, what he has in mind. So, and that's what he did, and that was like a thing that kind of really made me happy the most. That he goes like, look, I know what you guys are doing. I checked you out. Do your thing. I'm just happy. And he stands when for example, when I do the drum solo, he stands at the side of the stage, goes like, oh fuck, man, go for it. This is great.
Which is funny because when Marco and I first joined the band, we were actually pretty concerned
Yes.
that we didn't want to overplay because
Yeah.
Joe's music is so much more kind of straight down the middle of the road than what we usually
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
So in the first couple rehearsals, Marco and I were really
like-
just,
just
kinda
like-
do, 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 do. Yeah, totally. And finally, Joe had to come to us and be like, "Listen,
Yeah.
it's okay. Go ahead."
go
And then
ahead,
little
I love
by
it.
little, with
Yeah.
each gig, it got a little bit more
And
blues.
the one thing, and I know we talked about it, that kind of surprised me the most, and we talked about it after that. He said, "Do your thing, but just remember, there's a very fine line between instrumental rock music and fusion." Right?
Right.
And that's such a strong kind of input. You know exactly what he means. You know,
Yeah.
when you play Flying in the Blue Dream, of course, on and off some fills are welcome.
Yeah.
But
But it's
not
instrumental
everyone at
rock.
the same time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's definitely instrumental rock.
Yeah, it's great.
I have one quite a terrible question for you, Marco.
As
How-
long as it doesn't involve
how-
Dream Theater, okay?
How would you describe the main differences between working together with Jordan Rudess and Tony Levin and you three guys? Well, there are different instruments, but energy and vibrations and all
Very,
those
very different
things.
concept. Because what we do, and I can tell you the difference right away. So the Levin Minimum and Rudess project was basically, first of all, it was a project.
Okay.
It's a band.
Okay.
The second thing was, it was first of all Tony Levin and me alone. And we wrote songs and stuff separately in our homes, and then when Jordan actually came in, he overdubbed things. And that happened all in our homes. Now with us, we write the songs separately and then go in the studio and play them together. So
So
these things are even, they're both trios, but the approach is very different.
completely different.
So in the near future, can you reveal for each other in which projects are you involved already?
Each of us?
Yes.
We already know. We don't have to reveal to each other. Would you like to know?
Yes.
Okay.
You saw it.
Well, it's very simple. It's just the Joe Satriani tour is obviously going to be happening later, and we've got Joe Satriani and Aristocrats things lined up for pretty much the rest of the year, and even a little bit into next year. And you know, I used to have a lot of different things going on with like an artist named Mike Keneally, and you know, and even Death Clock, but there hasn't been as much activity there. So I'm happy just to have the Aristocrats and Joe Satriani take up all my time. It's enough. As you know, the road work is a lot.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be for me, if I might be so blunt, because it kind of connects exactly the way, because we're on the road with both of these bands. So, and I have another thing that's coming out, but I can't really talk about it right now.
Top secret.
Yeah, it's a top secret thing. I was asked to not do that, but there we go. But there will be something else coming up. But yeah, there you go.
Guthrie.
As much of this as possible, and I guess the Stephen Wilson machine will kind of wake up once again at some point. Far be it from me to say exactly when. That's Stephen's responsibility. Perhaps he can tell you in an interview one day. But other than those two things, I don't know. Like these guys, I feel busy enough with that. I don't want to spread myself too thinly.
We're all fortunate enough that the thing that we're most interested in right now is trying to make sure that we find time to stay sane, because the traveling constantly will really get to you after a while. So that's our main issue right now, and we're very grateful for all the work. Believe me.
Okay, so to conclude this interview, what can a listener which came first time on the Aristocrats concert, what can he expect from the whole concert, from the whole music you provide?
I would say just hopefully to just have a good time.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's our main goal, isn't it? To have a good time on
Yeah.
stage and kind of interact with the audience that way.
Yeah.
You know?
They'll get a lot of notes either way. We just want them to have a good time.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thanks.